I hope that she grows up to be a loving, caring person, that she finds her place with her own family, however that might look, that she has a career and can take care of herself. And she's going to have to learn to take care of herself. On the same hand, I always want to be there for her. I want to show her that, if there's anything that she needs or needs help with, it's okay to ask. She's going to have to rely upon a lot of people in the medical profession and friends to help her with some of the day-to-day stuff. But, just to be able to enjoy life to the fullest.
A new month is met with a new adorable kiddo. Her name is Ivy. Her parents have a beautiful story about the strength of family. With me is Josh Veach. I am Seth Carnell, and this is the Go Shout Love podcast. Of weight put on the shoulders of these parents, decisions that they have to make that they are not prepared for, nor has anyone guided them in the past on how to make these kind of choices. And it doesn't help at all that there are not many situations like this for reference that can help them along the way. I cannot imagine that kind of stress. Welcome back, Shouters. Today we are continuing our talk with Byron and Kari, the parents to little feisty Ivy, our feature kiddo for February 2021. She has diastrophic dysplasia, and that comes with its own set of challenges that are unique, especially when the best doctors to help are across the country. Now, this is part 2 of this conversation. If you have not listened to part 1, press pause, go back and do that. Part 1 has a lot of context about Ivy, her family, her diagnosis, and that will help set the stage for this episode, which has a lot of good pieces to take away. Leading this conversation is Josh Veach, one of our co-directors, and I do feel the need to mention again that this is recorded virtually, and there are often background noises, there is some typing, and changes in volume that go along with the nature of recording virtually. Trust me, I very much miss meeting these families and recording in person, but that doesn't diminish at all the importance of them telling their story and for each of us to hear it. As with all of our families we feature, there is so much to take away, and all to help us grow and shout love better. With that said, here is Josh picking up where we left off. Kari is beginning to explain why they have to travel all the way to Delaware for Ivy's medical needs.
Kari, I want to jump back to the doctor's appointment where the doctor mentioned, to make your own walker. You referenced that Ivy wasn't really even sitting up at that time. When the doctor told you that, was it hard to believe, or that just a few weeks from then you would see her running around and chasing her sister?
Well, and it was probably a couple of months after, because when we got home, we took a while before we made it. So there was a couple of months in between.
Sure.
But I think when he told me that, let's get her up, let's get her walking, it actually gave me like so much hope, because the other doctors we'd taken her to here in Colorado told me that she probably would never walk. And so for him, the specialist who treats a lot of children all over the United States with this disease, to tell me, let's get her up and get her walking, it gave me hope, because I thought, he thinks she's going to walk. That means that's huge. And it gave us a lot of encouragement. And like I said, I was doubting it. I was thinking, I don't know, her body seemed so fragile at that point. The thought of her walking, it scared me. But she, she's resilient, and she's, like I said, when we gave it to her, she knew what it was for. She knew this is my ticket to walk.
My ticket to freedom.
Exactly. And because she sees her siblings, she would see them running around, and she would look at them, and just, you could tell she just wanted to be chasing them. And
yeah.
I credit a lot of her mobility to our 7-year-old, because he would just get in front of her and she would say, "Come on, Ivy, let's go." And she would encourage her to go, and she would, tug her along and get her going. And that was a really big help for Ivy, because it got her up going. And instead of being scared like I was, Kiki was just like, "No, come on, we're going to go, we're going to run, we're going to play." And I think that was a big reason why Ivy got up and moving so as well as she does. That's
awesome. You reference your specialist, and is that the doctor that's in Delaware?
Yes, it's at Nemours DuPont Hospital for Children. And when we first got Ivy's diagnosis and we started connecting with families on social media, we found that so many of them went there. And it was like an overwhelming amount of families who go there. And at first we were thinking like, no, we'll just take her to, our hospitals here in Colorado. And once we started taking her there, and they had never had a patient with diastrophic dysplasia. They had heard of it, but they had never actually treated a patient with it. And that's not a very good feeling to think, well, they've never treated a patient with this. Ivy will be their first. We'll just go with it. We were not content with that. We wanted her to go see a doctor that knew everything there is to know about it, and who.
Sure.
We always say the best chance at mobility, the best chance at pain-free living that we could possibly get for her. And so we made that decision to go to Delaware, and it wasn't an easy decision, and it's not ideal, but we go there. My oldest daughter and I, we fly out there with her and try to make it, as fun as we can.
Yeah, it's probably extra difficult in the season of a global pandemic, I would assume.
She's very at risk for COVID because of her narrow airway and her respiratory issues. So COVID has kind of halted all of that. But
we tried to get a specialist in Southern Florida, but it had to be Delaware.
Yeah.
So
maybe the Caribbean, the Hawaii would be nice. Yes, yeah.
Exactly. Delaware. It's not the most exciting place to go, but it's an amazing hospital. And with the first time we went there, I just felt an overwhelming peace meeting the doctors and them just knowing so much about it and being able to answer my questions and being able to encourage me and give me that hope that I needed so badly as Ivy's mom, because you can Google it and you can sure get a lot of negative information thrown at you. So
sure,
going to them and then just, knowing, I think her actual orthopedic doctor, his name is Dr. McKenzie, and he says right now he sees about 50 patients with diastrophic, which shows how rare it is, because
they're all over the world.
All over the world. But it's a good feeling to have doctors who know what they're doing and who are on her side and who want the very best for her. And that's been a good aspect of it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, to go from the feeling of our child's basically a guinea pig in a scenario where, no one's going to be working with her, has experience in what she's facing, to be able to go into an environment where they can answer those questions with confidence and with experience. Yeah, that's a game changer, I'm sure.
And it was just a huge weight off my shoulders, because I felt like we have taken the child into our home and we've made her that promise that we are going to give her the best care possible. And then we couldn't find it. It was a huge weight off of me, because I felt like, okay, we're not going to let Ivy down. We're going to get her the care that she deserves. And so that was a tough journey there for a while, just finding that right doctor and knowing that we were doing the right thing for Ivy.
Yeah. And how often do you have to travel in a normal scenario? What would your travel schedule look like for her?
Ideally, just for general checkups, they'd like to see her 2 to 3 times a year. And,
that's just for the general. If something else comes up, then, obviously more than that.
Sure.
Any surgeries down the road, then you're planning on extra visits. And length of stays down there. And it's been difficult with COVID, and we've gone once since then. And but it's on the same token, it's been okay because we can, conference with the nurse and through teleconference and Zoom. So any concerns that we had in the meantime, they were able to answer pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. She does get a few things done, like with her casting with her feet. The casting part we were getting done here in Colorado because she would have to have those changed every week. And so we couldn't go to Delaware every week. And so we were doing that part. She's going to have tendon release surgery on the back of her feet and to help get her feet flat. And so it was supposed to be weekly cast change for 6 to 8 weeks. And we were at the ending point of that. And then they shut all surgeries down. And so we had to take her cast off ourselves because they didn't want her up there.
Oh my.
Took her cast off, and then all that progress was gone. So
yeah, I wasn't there when you did that.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, but but we got those off, and she's, all the progress that she had made with that is likely gone, and she'll have to start over that process once things calm down with COVID. But that's okay. We just have to go with it, and it's not a huge hurry to get that done, because she is walking, and that was one of the goals, was to get her feet flat so she would walk. But
Kari, you referenced earlier, I think, being able to connect with others that have diagnosis, and specifically adults. I'm assuming that was through social media. Is that how you made that connection?
Well, the funny thing is, we started, searching online, and we found a few children that had it, not a lot. And then actually we had a woman from our adoption agency who grew to love and know Ivy very well. It's a crazy story. She lives in Fort Worth, and she was on one of those Facebook buy sell trade groups, and he was buying a jacket from this woman, and she went to this woman's house and to buy the jacket, and she opened the door, and she said she knew immediately this woman had diastrophic dysplasia, and she was brave, and she asked her, hey, do you have this? And she was like, yeah, I do. How did you know? Because it's, it's rare. You have to really know what this characteristics, you're looking for. And
sure.
I told her about how they had just placed her. And so she connected me to her, and she has been like such a huge source of information for me, support. Like, we have a phone call. It's 3 hours long. We really connected. She's really an amazing woman. And she has given me so much hope for Ivy's future. I mean, nothing has stopped that woman. And she'll tell me, like, you don't hold that girl back. Let her do what she wants to do. She's going to do big things. And she's been a huge source of support for me. And she's helped us figure out things that we needed for Ivy, as far as like bathroom renovations, and helped me with figuring out some shoes for her. And it's just so good to see somebody that has this, who's grown up with it, who's in her 50s now, who's thriving. That's been a really a good source for me. And then I've met others with adults on Instagram that have it. And I always get so excited when people message me and say, hey, I'm, so-and-so, and I have it also. And it's just a really good connection to make.
And I think at first, we tried to look at the diastrophic or dwarfism boards online. And while those are immensely helpful, they just didn't quite offer that same level of intimacy. And a lot of people that had it were parents with kids who had it, who were going through a lot of the same struggles and questions that we had. And it was kind of just almost feeding off of that uncertainty and anxiety. They didn't know what situations we were going through. And so again, it was just so helpful to find adults who could kind of say, hey,
she's gonna be just fine. And that's fair. I think, because we've gotten bogged down with negativity there for a while. And I think it's just been, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just been giving me a lot of hope.
Yeah. On that note, what are your hopes and dreams for Ivy in the future?
they're really not any different than any of my other kids. I hope that she grows up to be a loving, caring person, that she finds her place with her own family, however that might look, that she has a career and can take care of herself. And she's going to have to learn to take care of herself. On the same hand, I always want to be there for her. I want to show her that, if there's anything that she needs or needs help with, it's okay to ask. She's going to have to rely upon a lot of people in the medical profession and friends to help her with some of the day-to-day stuff. But, just to be able to enjoy life to the fullest. Yeah. Hopefully as pain-free as possible. I hope that we don't make any decisions now that we regret in the future for medical care. And so we should have done that, or why did we do that when now they're suffering from the results of that surgery or this surgery.
I'm sure that's a weight that you have to carry, that a lot of parents, if they've never been in that sort of situation, they take not having to think that way for granted, I'm sure.
Few of the decisions are, we have to do this. There's just no question. So many of them.
Right.
Oh, let's give it a try. Maybe it'll
help her. It might not. And, you just don't know.
You make the best decision with what you know at the time.
Right.
Yeah. Kari, what about you for hopes and dreams? Do you have anything that you would add to what Byron said?
No, I just want her to be happy. I want her to grow up and to know that she's loved, and I want her to be happy and to be a strong, independent adult, which I know she's going to be because she's already strong and independent. So I just want, like he said, the same thing as I want for our other children. And I just want her to be secure and content and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one other question, or one topic, I guess, to cover before we wrap up. You mentioned, we've talked a little bit about Ivy's adoption story, and I think in previous conversations you've referenced the importance of special needs adoption and helping those kiddos find their place in loving families. How has that become a passion for you guys, and what would you say to someone who's listening that maybe they've thought about adoption, but maybe that type of adoption hasn't been on their radar? What would you say to them?
I would say that these children with special needs, whether it be, something like our son has autism or a physical disability like Ivy has, these kids are so worth it, and they're worthy of a home. They're worthy of a family to take care of them. And they're so often they're overlooked. Everybody wants to adopt that perfectly healthy baby. That saying, like, we don't care if it's a boy or a girl as long as the baby's healthy. And I hate that saying. What if the baby's not healthy? Then what? It's these babies that are, quote, unhealthy or have special needs. They deserve just as much as a child that doesn't have that. And I think with our son's adoption, and that just really hit home for us, realizing that there's a huge need for families to adopt these children with special needs. It's a huge need. Even newborns, not just, older kids in foster care. There are newborns with disabilities and special needs that are being overlooked. And to me, it's become a huge passion of mine. And, I would continue adopting. I would continue adopting your children with special needs as long as I physically could do it myself. But, I'm pretty sure we're done with Ivy. But, there's a huge need, and it's out there. And I think that these children, they go unseen, and I hate that.
Yeah. And in addition to what you just said, as far as they need these kiddos need a home, I think in being involved in Go Shout Love, what that's taught me is that, of course, these kiddos come with different levels of needs based on the journeys that they're on are a little bit different. So they come with these different complexities of what they need as far as day-to-day care. But what doesn't change is the joy and love that they bring to their family. And so in addition to these families needing a home, they also have so much to give. I think when, on the outside, you're thinking just of convenience or what goes into being able to provide that level of care. Maybe you'd think you're not equipped, but the joys that each child that is needing adopted, regardless of their situation, has love to give. They have something to bring to the family. They're not just a taker as far as what their needs are.
And it is hard, it's not, I don't want to sugarcoat it and just say it's all easy. It's hard, it's stressful, but then you look at that child and you see it, they were never supposed to do, and it so much joy and so much happiness, and it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. I'm so excited for this month and being able to share Ivy's story and the rest of your family. And can't thank you enough for opening up your afternoon to talk to us and let us in on what's going on in your life and to give us a little bit of a peek into who Ivy is. So is there anything else you guys would like to add before we wrap up?
I just want to add one thing. When I started my Instagram account for Ivy, I did it because I want a parent who just got the diagnosis of diastrophic dysplasia, who is online searching, and they search that hashtag. I want them to see that diastrophic dysplasia is not something it's not the end of the world. It's not something to be scared of. It's not something to feel dread about. I want them to see her as hope and as something bright spot, and just not just negativity with this disease. There is so much positivity, and that these kids are so capable. Yeah.
And on that note, if you're not following the journey on Instagram, that handle is little_Ivy_sunshine. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so make sure if you're listening and you need to have your day brightened up, she's the sunshine of Instagram, I would say.
Thank you for listening, all you shouters. If you are not currently a shouter and you would like to know more about who we are, Go Shout Love is here to do amazing things for amazing families with kids on rare medical journeys. And each month we shout love through the sale of creative apparel designed for the kiddos that we feature. This month's Shine Bright t-shirt design represents Ivy, a feisty, silly, and determined 2-year-old from Lamar, Colorado. Every purchase in February will help cover travel expenses from Colorado to Delaware for her specialized medical care. Visit our website, goshout.love, to support Ivy through the purchase of a t-shirt, a sweater, a wonderfully warm and comfortable hoodie, tumbler, or other items. Now, to go one step further, the best way to shout love is by starting a subscription and shouting love every month for every kiddo and their family. You can be a constant part of the Go Shout Love family and participate with us, making a difference in the lives of these kids and in our community. If you do have a child on a rare medical journey, or if you know of a family with a child on a rare medical journey, you can nominate them as well on our website, goshout.love. Just click on Nominate in the navigation menu. Please stay tuned for more episodes with amazing families like this one. We have more coming up. And if you have not heard any of our previous stories or episodes, please check them out while you wait for the next month to roll around so that you can continue to go shout love. Thank you.